What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm back at it to bring you 40 facts on the Warhammer 40k universe. This time, I am pleased to bring you epicness in the form of space wolves. More importantly, we are talking about the Old Wolf, the Fang Father, the High King of Fenris himself, the Great Wolf, Logan Grimnar. So ready your furry suits as we dive into this lore on this epic mofo that rides a fucking sled into battle. Yes, guys, Logan Grimnar is such a boss. He is also Santa Claus at the same time. So there is tons of lore on this guy, so much that I won't be able to get to everything today. So head on over to the Lexicanum, the wiki page, 4chan, and your codices to get the full overview on Logan Grimnar. So without further ado, let's dive into his lore. Logan Grimnar is indeed a warrior from birth. He was born on Fenris. When Grimnar was young, he was part of the Iron Blood tribe. While battling the enemy Sea Devils and Ice Fang tribes on the boiling oceans of Fenris, Logan and his crew were ambushed at the ruins of a temple of Mordecai. Soon, only Logan remained among his comrades, facing enemy tribesmen with only a bloody axe. High above, the battle was being observed by a space wolf high priest known as Ulrich. As Logan made his final stand, he was saved by Terminators, who then sprinted him to the Fang. At the Fang, a warrior named Ulrich would remain close to Logan and observe his growth, and constantly would test him. The first hints of his greatness came during the first trial of Mordecai, when Logan slew the ice troll Flossblood, a dread beast that had killed dozens of the chapter's recruits. In a cave filled with the remains of Fenrisian warriors, Logan jammed a broken bone into Frostblood's eye, howling his rage into the beast's face even as his fangs savaged his arm. The Canis Helix bonded with Logan as though he had been born to become a space marine, and in time the young warrior was inducted into Asvald Stormrack's great company as a Bloodclaw. Logan proved his skill and valor repeatedly in wars across the Sea of Stars, taking to the life of a Sky Warrior as easily as he had been sailing the seas of Fenris. However, what made the future Wolf's Lord stand out from his brothers was not his bravery or his cunning, but the boundless charisma he wielded like a weapon. His easy grin and ready jests earned him the trust of everyone that he met, even the old and cynical Longfangs of the company, who grudgingly admitted that they had warmed up to the whelp. With over a century of war and unparalleled heroism, Logan Grimnar had risen to earn a place among Asvad's Wolf Guard, often keeping the counsel of the Wolf Lord, and was always close to his side. As always, the Wolf Priest kept close watch on Grimnar, and Ulrich taught the young warrior all there was to know about the traditions and history of the chapter. When Oswald finally fell in battle against the orcs of the Cyclopean Rift, Logan Grimnar was elected Wolf Lord in his place by a unanimous assent of his fellow Wolf Guard. Favored by the chapter, he soon ascended to Great Wolf, after the incumbent Sigvald Grimhammer was murdered by a Dark Eldar succubus. During the First War for Armageddon, the Space Hulk, Devourer of Stars, caught Imperial forces by surprise. Even worse, the Chaos forces were led by the Demon Primarch Angron. The forces of Chaos quickly defeated the Imperial forces at Armageddon Prime. Unbeknownst to the forces of Chaos, the Space Wolves were recently assigned to this sector, and they answered the Imperial forces' cry for help. By the time the forces of Chaos had come around for a new attack, they found a well-organized Imperial force, bolstered by Space Wolves. This was Logan's first real test as Wolf Lord. Nonetheless, Logan, in all his foresight, knew that he and his Space Wolves alone would not be able to defeat Angron's force. When the Demon Primarch led the attack on the Imperial line, Logan played his ace, a full company of Grey Knights. At the great cost of many Great Knight lives, they were able to banish Angron back into the wars. With the defeat of their leader, the forces of Chaos were quickly crushed. As is standard Inquisition practice for those exposed to Chaos, even those who has valiantly been involved in fighting against it, the remaining population of Armageddon was rounded up into labor camps and sterilized. While in these labor camps, the original population was left to die, while Armageddon was repopulated. Logan Grimnar attempted to rescue as many survivors of Armageddon as possible, having his fleet escort troop ships to their destinations before they could be fired upon by Inquisition vessels. This eventually led his fleet into conflict with Inquisitor Lord Gesme Kisnaros, and the two sides eventually agreed to negotiate terms to end the Cold War between the Ordo Malleus and the Space Wolves in neutral space. However, during the parley, the Space Wolves' fleet was betrayed and fired upon by the Inquisition and the Grey Knight ships. With the Space Wolves losing 4 vessels and having a 5th crippled, Grimnar was brought aboard a Grey Knight ship to negotiate his surrender, when he instead cut down Grey Knight Grandmaster Joros for his breach of the laws of parley before teleporting away to safety. Later, the crisis with the Inquisition escalated into an all-out warfare when the Ordo Malleus, Grey Knights, and Red Hunters besieged Fenris itself. During the fighting, Grimnar and a force of 20 Terminators teleported aboard the Inquisition flagship, Corral's Hope, and the Old Wolf personally slew Kisnaros. However, in the end, with the Space Wolves and Fenris taking heavy damage, and with Bjorn the Fell-Handed all but commanding him to seek peace, Grimnar finally ordered his forces to withdraw and cease the fighting. But since the first war for Armageddon, Logan has never forgiven the Administratum and the Inquisition for this terrible act. During Abaddon's 13th Black Crusade, Logan was selected as Supreme Commander for the defending Imperial forces. Under his command, many key victories were won. If it were not for his leadership, more of Cadia would have been in the hands of chaos. At the Battle of Kisar Sanan, Logan and his great company, and the chapter master of the Dark Angels, Azrael, defeated a force many times their size by putting aside their resentment of each other. Also, during the siege of the Fenris system, Logan Grimnar led the reclamation of Midgardia alongside Eagle Ironwolf. The Great Wolf battled the Infernal Tetrad during this campaign. Logan Grimnar ultimately became stranded upon Midgardia, but he was saved by Eagle Ironwolf shortly before its doom was unleashed by Magnus himself. In the final battle against the Demon Primarch, Logan led his forces, the Grey Knights and the Dark Angels, in an impossible struggle. Ultimately, thanks to the sacrifices of Eagle Ironwolf, Grimnar was able to wound Magnus with the axe of Mordecai, which gave the Grey Knights enough time to banish him back into the depths of the war. And now let us speak about the war gear of the Great Wolf, beginning with the artificial Terminator armor. Logan Grimnar wears a suit of ancient, artificial crafted Terminator armor, a relic of the chapter itself. Felclaw's skull and cloak. Fenrisian wolves are renowned across the galaxy for their viciousness. They are respected creatures and greatly intertwined with the Space Wolf beliefs. Unarmed hunting rituals exist on Fenris to prove a warrior's prowess. Should a battle brother succeed on such a hunt, he typically displays the pelt of the animal thereafter. Upon the back of Grimnar's Terminator armor is a massive gilded skull and an enormous wolf cloak made from the pelt of the terrible and mighty Thunderwolf Felclaw that he slew in his youth after a long and bloody hunt, which he has worn with pride ever since. The Wolf Tooth Necklace. Crafted from the teeth of Fenrisian wolves, a wolf tooth necklace is reputed to grant the wearer strength and ferocity in combat, like that of the wolf it was taken from. Whether or not there is any true power in such tokens, the effects of a Space Wolf Battle Brother's morale and ferocity can never be denied. The Belt of Russ. Each great company has in its armory a single Belt of Russ. These are powerful girdles incorporating potent gravity force fields that protect the wearer, similar in function to an iron halo. Forged by the Master Iron Priest Steph Blacksoul after the disappearance of Russ, these belts are an important relic of the chapter. The Avalanche Pattern Stormbolter. The drumming fire of this lethal weapon has brought death to aliens, mutants, and heretics. Expertly maintained and perfectly calibrated, Grimnar's Stormbolter is a breathtaking example of the Iron Priest's craft. The Axe Mordecai. This mighty weapon is born into battle by the Great Wolf. The Axe Mordecai is an ancient artifact, thrumming with power of the warp, a battlefield trophy taken from a defeated Chaos champion by the Great Wolf himself. Grimnar had the chapter's Iron Priest reforge the deadly axe into the likeness of twin-headed wolf god Mordecai, and the guardian of the gates of the afterlife in the midst of the people of the Space Wolves' homeworld, Fenris. And lastly, we have Stormrider. Stormrider is an ornate war chariot held aloft by anti-grav gyro stabilizers. It has no means of self-propulsion, for it has ever been drawn forth by a pair of giant thunderwolves since the time of Leman Russ. Power fields and runes of enchantment are wrought within the chariot's framework to protect both the man and beast from incoming fire, enabling Stormrider to bear the old wolf into the heart of the enemy unscathed. Grimnar is amongst the Imperium's deadliest warriors, but when pulled by the Thunderwolves, Tynak and Fenrir, he is nigh unstoppable. And there you have it, guys. That was 40 facts on the Great Wolf, Logan Grimnar. Let me know what you guys think of this chapter master. Was he in the right for fighting for the civilians' lives of Armageddon, or would you have surrendered to the Inquisition and the Grey Knights? After all, it did cost him heavy losses, and an all-out war that could have ended in another was heresy. Also, guys, let me know what other chapter masters you wish for me to cover. Perhaps it is the chapter master of the Ultramarines, Calgar, or maybe you want to go to the chapter master of the Minotaurs, which we already did, so booyah. Anyway, guys, just let me know what suggestions you want, and I will get to them as soon as I can. We do have a pretty long list of suggestions that we kind of got jotted down on our whiteboard and whatnot. So it may take a while until we get to yours, but for sure we'll add it to the list. As always, guys, head on over to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon pages for more epic 40k content from us. And as always, I am the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.